at the opening, you have a schedule that may preclude you from participating with the second panel by Zoom. But for the record, for you and for all of the members of the committee, the record is going to be open for written questions until 5 p.m. on Wednesday, October 19th. And we hope all nominees have sent those questions will respond promptly. But if you have any follow-up questions, that will be your opportunity. So thank you again, Senator Grassley. The next member of the committee, we understand, is Senator Sheldon Whitehouse of the state of Rhode Island. Senator Whitehouse.
Thank you, Chairman. Have we got the comms right? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, good. I wanted to take the opportunity of having Professor Johnstone here to reflect a little bit on the Bullock case, in which I wrote an amicus brief aligned with the attorney generals from Montana, and the state of unlimited money in politics that we have to be dealing with. As the committee will recall, the Supreme Court's Citizens United decision, by a vast majority of 8-1, determined that unlimited anonymous money in politics would be corrupting. And that is no casual finding. We as Americans take our manner of governance as a point of pride, and anything that would corrupt it is obviously a very serious matter, particularly when across appointments of both parties, you have an 8-1 determination by the Supreme Court that this type of political behavior would in fact corrupt. And that is why the fact-finding of the Supreme Court in Citizens United was so important to that decision. They found as a fact that this funding, the unlimited political spending they were unleashing, would actually be transparent. So there was no corruption issue to have to address, which raises all sorts of interesting questions, because events have conspicuously and irrebuttably proven that they were dead wrong about that. We generally know that appellate courts aren't supposed to do fact-finding in the first place. So when they go gallivanting off into fact-finding, it raises some very interesting separation of powers questions. But when they go gallivanting off into fact-finding that is demonstrably false, it raises a whole new and complicated set of issues about what to do. What deference is the decision owed? Were the fact-finding done at a lower level, it would be overturned as clear, plain error. But from the top, what do you do about it? It raises some very interesting questions. And the reason I mention all this is because it was in the Bullock case out of Montana that I raised these questions initially with the court. And my partner in that was John McCain. So the brief was bipartisan. And we pointed out to the court that they were factually wrong, that events had shown that this flood of political spending the court had unleashed was neither independent nor transparent. And of course, events since then have only proved that case even more. John and I then did another brief together in the gerrymandering case, and both met with equal failure. The court was unwilling to take up the question. They ruled summarily and refused to take up the cases. I came back yet another time in the Liu case, where even more evidence had piled up that they'd been absolutely dead wrong about this question of transparency. So the Bullock case gave them a chance to correct their fact-finding error. And then the Liu case gave them a second chance to correct their fact-finding error. And they've conspicuously refused to correct their fact-finding error. The only time they've revisited this was in the Americans for Prosperity Foundation case, where they created a new constitutional right to dark money. And they did so in a case involving Americans for Prosperity Foundation, which is the corporate twin to Americans for Prosperity, which is a political dark money battleship originally propped up by the Koch brothers and their whole political operation. And of course, the decision was partisan 6-3. And all along the way, and all through all these decisions, we have seen the court coached and encouraged by amicus briefs filed by, guess what, dark money groups. So it raises some very interesting questions. One is what deference is owed to decisions that stand on clear, plain error. But the other is what would motivate a court not to correct its error? And those are the questions that those of us who have grave questions about the integrity of the court right now are having to grapple with. Why on earth, for more than a decade, would the court refuse to correct an error as obvious as all this unlimited spending was going to be transparent? So I'll leave it at that because my time has expired, but I couldn't welcome Professor Johnstone more heartily to the committee and look forward to supporting his nomination.
Thank you